First, an admission, I pre-ordered an iPad mini. But I wasn't happy about the price I was paying. You see, I've been around iOS devices long enough to know that 16 GB of storage space just doesn't cut it. Throw a couple of high-res games and an HD movie or two on the thing, and you're starting to hit the limit. That put me at $429 for the 32 GB model. Tack on the extra dough for sales tax and suddenly I was over $450. And that doesn't include the $29 Apple wants for Lightning to 30-pin adapter that will thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Allowed me to use my old Apple connectors with the Mini. I felt like I was spending way too much, but I hit the buy button anyway. After all, it was something of a risk-free purchase. I could always return it if I had second thoughts, or maybe even sell it for more than I paid because I knew units would be in short supply at launch. This is the warped world of the Apple universe where I buy things despite feeling like a sucker. Of course, a lot of you are probably saying about now, Arnoe, thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. You're an idiot, one of the sheeple. Get a spine. Buy the Nexus 7, a Kindle Fire HD, or a Nook HD, which has expandable memory. I know. The fact is I already have a Kindle Fire HD, Nook HD, and have played around with the Nexus 7. That last product is a better deal than ever, thanks to Google offering new versions at lower prices just this week. The new 32 GB model is $249. They're all impressive devices with sharper screens and more affordable price tags than the iPad mini. Don't remind me. However, my thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Relationship with the Mini is a little complicated. I've been barking for Apple to do a smaller iPad for 2 years, so I'm a fan of the size and the undeniably great slim form factor. I'm also on the hook for doing accessory reviews, mostly cases, for the product, so I figured I should have one around. And trust me on this one, borrowing a colleague's personal iPad for repeated testing does not make you a popular guy in the office. Retina displays aside, my problem with the iPad mini, and while I'm bitching bring on the wood thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. You like some cheese with your wine comments is the $100 Apple charges for going from 16 GB to 32 GB, plus another $100 to go from 32 GB to 64 GB. The $130 premium you pay for the Wi-Fi plus cellular models is the subject for another article. Of course, it has every right to charge whatever it wants and it doesn't take a genius to figure out that Apple makes its biggest margins on the memory bumps across its entire line of iOS products. After all, they're the same products, they just have more memory. I can understand thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Paying a nice premium over what you'd typically pay for flash memory, but it gets a little ridiculous when you're paying 5x what you'd normally pay. Sure, you can say the memory in Apple devices is higher grade than your basic flash memory. But the breakdowns iSupply has done of the iPad 2 and 3rd Gen iPad showed that the bump from 16 GB to 32 GB costs Apple about $17. It's another $34 or so to go from 32 GB to 64 GB. According to iSupply, 64 GB of NAND flash memory runs around $67, or at least it did this past March. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. The other thing that bothers me is why it costs $100 to bump up 16 GB, going from 16 GB to 32 GB, when you get 32 GB for the same price when you go from 32 GB or 64 GB. Yes, 64 GB flash memory configurations used to be pretty pricey, but they're significantly cheaper now. It just doesn't add up. And what about the IPO Touch? You get to jump from 32 GB to 64 GB for an extra $100. Not a bargain, but better than getting only 16 GB for $100. As for Apple's competitors, Amazon charges $50 for half. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. The price, to go from 16 GB to 32 GB with the Kindle Fire HD. Same goes for Google and its Nexus 7. Meanwhile, Barnes & Noble's expandable Nook HD starts at $199 for the 8GB model and bumps up to $229 for the 16GB model. A 32GB microSD card costs around $25, while a 64GB goes for around $60. You can do the math on that one. Of course, it all comes down to supply and demand, and Apple knows that a lot of folks find 16GB constricting, even with iCloud in full effect, and will make thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. The jump to 32GB. As a fellow CNET editor told me, you may regret paying $450 for a 32GB iPad mini, but you'll end up regretting it more paying $350 for 16GB model. Sadly, there's some truth to that. The simple answer is to just say no and return the thing. And maybe I will. But I'll whine first. Pass the cheese.